Hello, welcome to another 10-minute mashup, Mamemeister's 10-minute mashup, to give it its full Sunday school name. It's a mashup, but what I'm going to do, guys, is I've been harping on about the Sega Dreamcast for quite a while, talking about how fantastic it is at shmups. Now I've got a fair collection of these for the Dreamcast, so what I'm planning to do is just do, not a feature as such, but I want to start letting you see these games. There's been a few guys interested in the Dreamcast, particularly shmups, and I says this is probably about the best genre you can actually get on it. So I'm going to take you through some of these. Today's game, what's it called? Radirgy, I think it is. To let you understand, most of these shmups never actually saw a release outside of Japan. So most of the instructions, the buttons, etc., or in the case of this one, like a lot of these Japanese games, I don't know why, so much is in English, so much is in Japan, or Japanese I should say. So this is Radirgy. I think it said it was made, is it going to tell us? I think it was made in 2005. Absolutely no idea who made it. But let's batter on. Let's try and play this thing. Now you need to bear with me, guys, because sometimes you haven't a clue what button to press. I know sometimes the Japanese buttons configuration is slightly different. There you go, 2005-2006 Milestone Incorporation. Because these are shmups, they're vertical, they've actually kept, to keep the proper ratio, aspect ratio, you'll see there's borders on the other side. Now I don't know whether this game was actually an arcade game. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Let's just hammer the A button and see if it actually starts the game. Right, haven't a clue what that says, don't know, so let's just wing it and see what happens. Right, I'm going to turn that down a wee bit. That's better. We're starting, here we go. Now this is quite an unusual sort of graphical style. It looks almost homebrew. Quite a nice kind of effect though, almost kind of pseudo 3D effect. The one thing about these, to pick these things up, are they bad? They flowers? I'm really not too sure. Like you pick up these things obviously. It's very interesting graphics. It's almost kind of cel shaded type thing. The one thing about the Dreamcast, guys, is you'll probably appreciate the Dreamcast is no more. I mean, it died a very, very premature death, which is a shame because it's an absolutely fantastic system. And as a consequence, you know, you can't go to a shop and buy a game. I mean, you can obviously go on eBay, or there's some retro kind of. Let's continue. There's some retro, obviously, sort of websites that will sell these second hand. But what the point I'm trying to make is, you can't physically give companies money anymore because these games just simply don't exist. I haven't a clue what these things are. Ice lollies and baked potatoes and pizza and ice cream and whatever, shoes. A broom. That's an interesting one. A broom and a shovel. Aye, where was I? Yeah, so you can't really buy these games. Don't get me wrong, there are some companies who still manufacture, or don't manufacture, they still write games for the Dreamcast. But in the main, the games that you're going to see, that I'm going to show you, you can't buy anymore. Now, some people have split opinions on this. They're saying, well, if you can't buy them, then tough. What you can do is go on eBay and buy them second hand, which is absolutely fine. But a lot of these games you'll pay through the nose for, and at the end of the day, the only people making money is the guy that's selling the second hand copy. The Dreamcast, I'll be honest with you, I've got a large collection of Dreamcast games, but I've also got an even bigger collection of copies. They're pretty easy to find. You can download the image. a strange noise when you press the fire button. Yeah, you can download images fairly easily and burn them using a special version of Image Burn to play on any Dreamcast. Now, one of the wonderful things about the Dreamcast is it doesn't have to be modded or anything to play copied games or backups if you want a proper title. But like I said, guys, if you buy a Dreamcast, you know, you can't buy one brand new, you get one second hand. It's just impossible. You can't go to a shop and buy games. So I don't see any difference from downloading a Dreamcast game, unless of course it's a game that's come out fairly recently and can still be purchased. That's completely different. I don't see any difference between downloading a game. I don't see any difference between downloading an image file for a Dreamcast and playing it than there is from downloading a SNES game or a Commodore 64 game, because they're no longer financially viable. They're no longer, you can't buy them, you know what I mean, so nobody's losing out. But yeah, but most of these shoot 'em ups were Japanese. Now, I don't know what's happening here. Alright, okay, I'm pressing this different button and it's doing some kind of sort of, I don't know what that is. Let's continue. Now, I wouldn't normally continue, guys. I think you know my stance by now on these kind of shoot 'em ups. Any arcade game, it's all about the high score, and I wouldn't normally use a continue. Yeah, there's some very, very strange power-ups going on here. Chicken leg, a beetle, I don't know what that is, ice cream playing cards. I'd actually be quite interested to see if this game, was it available in arcades? Well, not available, did it come out in arcades? It certainly doesn't have the look of an arcade game. Yeah, it's kind of cel shaded. It's quite an interesting graphic effect. Now, I don't know whether you would class this a bullet hell shooter. Bullet hell shooters, for anybody that doesn't know, is basically it's a shoot 'em up, usually vertical shoot 'em ups, whereby the enemies release thousands upon thousands of bullets. Now, to anybody who's never really played one before, you think it's absolutely impossible to get past it. But they're actually almost kind of puzzle games, because there is always a path through the bullets, and what you really have to do is try and steer your ship through the sort of cloudy bullets. And that's similar to what this is. Kick in there. Ah, balls. Ah well, that'll be that. High score. Well, high score considering it's only score. Let's have time for another quick game. Quite a funky little shoot 'em up. So this is obviously must have been one of these. This was one of the games that was obviously written well after the Dreamcast died. I mean, the Dreamcast died probably early noughties, maybe 2002, something like that. This game came out in 2005, so. But I've got a fair stack of these shoot 'em ups, and some of them are just absolutely unbelievable. I've never really played this one before. I mean, it's certainly interesting. Now, I don't know what that does. Top button does nothing. Analog stick does nothing. Oops. Blue button does that strange little wavy thing. not quite sure what the benefit of that is. Don't know. But in the main, it's the A button, which is the red button. You just hold that down. And I notice you can actually shoot some of the buttons, not the buttons, you can actually shoot some of the bullets. I don't know what the weather's like in your part of the woods, guys, but it's absolutely Scotsdale up in Scotland. It's kind of uncomfortably warm. When I left work tonight, it was actually showing us 35 degrees, believe it or not, in the car. I mean, it quickly cooled down and I started moving. Oh, come on, you twat. So I think the secret to this game is shooting the bullets. Now a lot of these games you have what's called chaining, whereby you try and continually shoot things. You try and not have a gap in between shooting baddies, and that's called chaining, and you can usually build up some massive scores. I mean, one of the most common games for chaining was, what's the name of the game in the Saturn? Radiant Silvergun. Then there was Iracuda. There's various other ones, but these are certainly the most sort of well-known two games. Never actually played Raiding Silvergun. I mean, I've got a Saturn, but that's one of these games that goes for sort of 60, 70 quid and some, and I'm not prepared to pay that kind of money for a game, regardless of how good it is. It's quite annoying, I notice. You get that strange buzzing sound when you press the fire button. Yeah, I don't think that's right. What you sometimes find in some of these bullet hell games, now I don't know if it applies to this one, but the spaceship has, a lot of the time, the spaceship has a very, very, very small hit point, which means that only a certain part of the ship will actually, if a bullet hits it, you'll die. It basically means that bullets can actually brush past you and you'll not die. Didn't quite figure out if this one had that or not. Anyway guys, listen, that's long enough. This is Radirgy on the Sega Dreamcast. Check it out guys, hope you enjoyed watching it, and as usual, thanks for watching.